people cursed his name, bowed at the altar of the father of lies. But there's a number to their days and all their evil ways. The Lord's gonna turn away from all their cries.
All right, welcome to Standing in the Gap podcast, coming to you from Faith Baptist Church Studios in beautiful downtown Eldon, Missouri. I am in studio with my good friend and pastor, Brother Wayne Dinwiddie. Brother, how you doing today?
Great. Excited to get started.
Oh, I am too, man. I'm going to forego a lot of the legalese and save that for the end of the episode, but I do want to announce special guest in the studio, Brandon Christian. Brandon, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good to have you here, man, especially for this episode, the so-called alien episode. I think we're going to actually title this, Are We Alone in the Universe? And in asking that question, I'm going to back the music out and ask you, Brother Wayne, are we alone in the universe?
Well, that's a big question that's out there with the latest buzz on TikTok and Twitter and Facebook and other platforms. Where Tim Burchett, representative of Tennessee, and former congressman, representative of Florida, are quoted saying that they were briefed about government human-alien hybrid breeding that was going on to create a hybrid race that would be able to communicate with intergalactic beings.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, what kind of language is that anyway? That's from straight out of Star Wars or Star Trek.
Yeah.
Intergalactic. Yeah. So the question has been lately, are we alone in the universe? Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to flat out say no, there are not. Or we're alone as in there are not beings living on faraway planets, or the Bible would say so. But the Bible does speak about powers in high places supporting evil intentions by rulers of this world. And that's Ephesians 6:12, which most people know that, but Ephesians 6:12 says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." This is not talking about the presidents and the governors and the representatives, or else it wouldn't have said we wrestle not against flesh and blood at the beginning. There's something working behind the scenes using the flesh and blood to manipulate the intentions of the enemy of this world, which is also the God of this world. This world worships him. He's not really the God of the world, but they are worshiping as that. And so I say, yes, we're alone as far as that goes, but no, there is something that's deceiving. Because these powers are opposed to anything good, and they're out to deceive, not enlighten, as some propose. We've got a young man that used to be a part of this church, went to Bible college, and somewhere along the line, somebody convinced him to start believing in other gods, and that our God was kind of a stick in the mud for not enlightening people of what they needed to know.
Sounds like Gnostic.
Well, it's literal paganism is what it is.
It's the same thing from the garden.
It's sorrow for Lucifer. They're sorrowful that Lucifer got a bad hand, basically. He's the one that wanted to give us light. And so that's the idea with some. There's a guy named Stephen Greer that is a ufologist, they call him. And he has a group of people that gets together, and they all have these same hallucinations. Suppose, that's what... But they're speaking to these entities. And they say that these entities are good, that they're coming here to give us more knowledge. And the government is hiding that fact, and the government is going to deceive the masses and fake an alien invasion to get the world to unite as one to fight against the one that's coming. So that's a distorted view of that, because he wants the aliens to come and not be hindered, but he says the government's doing all this stuff little by little and keeping some of it secret so that the people will believe that they are toxic for us and will fight against them. So there's just a lot out there. People are questioning everything. And so these entities, which are not intergalactic, they're interdimensional. They have the ability to pass back and forth through the veil, so to speak. That's what the Bible calls it, through the veil, from the fourth dimension to the third dimension, and back and forth. I don't think they just have that power to do it any time, but they're able to break through here and there for some reason. Mm-hmm. And we know God allows that for whatever reason, to set up that deception or whatever, to separate sheep from goats, either however you want to put it. But 2 Timothy chapter 3, and this just gives us a little idea of what Paul's speaking to this young preacher. He says in verse 13, "But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived." Mm-hmm. And if we wrestle not against flesh and blood, then you know who's behind that. You see, that's why I wanted to throw that in there. We don't wrestle against flesh and blood. And the more that people don't want to acknowledge God, Romans chapter 1, the easier it is for them to be deceived and be deceivers.
Yeah.
Because Romans 1 says they're given over to a reprobate mind. They say something long enough or want to believe it long enough, they become a believer of it.
They're not grounded in the truth, so they're floating here and there.
Yeah. That's right. They hold the truth. They hold it back in their unrighteousness.
I sort of say, doesn't it say they hold the truth in unrighteousness?
Yeah, that means they hold it back. They keep it from coming to the forefront, because these are the people that rule everything that it's talking about, and people follow them blindly. So, in other words, the world, so to speak, would rather believe in alien creators whose morals are questionable, like their own, and they'd rather believe in that than a God that requires a standard. Mm-hmm. You know, even though if they'd just be enlightened to what salvation really was, you know, but in their mind, they got to give things up. They can't love who they want, which is true, but they don't understand how much better that it would be to go that route than to try to live forever in their sinful flesh.
Yep.
But this whole thing they're talking about, an alien human hybrid breeding program, we've been talking about it for years. That, you know, when someone says they've been abducted, what do they say they're doing? They wake up and there's these weird beings taking their sperm. Can I say that on here? Mm-hmm. I mean, literally, that's every one of them has the same type of story. And
makes you think of Genesis 6.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go next. This happened before, in which God had to destroy the world in Genesis 6. And men worshipped those beings that they made because they were strong and tall and they were smart. They could make anything grow. They could make they were big, and they could make anything big.
Greek gods and demigods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's
all
always
the false gods.
Well, and it's like you were saying too. It always centers around the reproductive process, like all the abductions, everything. Whether it's male, it always centers around that reproductive process. There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, that's right. And it's a mystery. You know, we can't know for sure what's going on, but by experience, it helps us to interpret what the Scripture's been saying for thousands of years. And, I mean, it was Jesus that said, as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So when we see that same type of stuff coming to pass, then we can look and not dismiss it right away. This is not folklore. This is not people trying to be sensational. There's some meat here.
Yeah.
There's something to it.
Well, there's no new thing under the sun.
Yeah.
And the methods have changed, but the goal is still the same.
Yep, that's right.
Make themselves like gods.
Yep. And the reason we know they worshiped these beings, because we had it happen again later when the children of Israel entered the promised land, or tried to enter the promised land. It was full of these giant beings. Mm-hmm. And there was some reason that Satan planted them there. Why would they be right there all around the Holy Land?
The land that God promised to Abraham.
It could have been that was Eden. You know, Jerusalem could be the garden of God. You know, it's
very possible.
Probably true.
Yeah. Considering the story about the tree and everything, yeah.
Yeah. It's probably right where it was. And these giants were found all around it. They all in the high countries, all the hills, all the way around the Holy Land. Mm-hmm. These giants were all the way around it. It was like the enemy was making a
nest,
a fence, you know, like to keep God out, so to speak. Or, you know, you kind of get that imagery. God set cherubim at the gate of the city to keep men out. Mm-hmm. What if that's kind of has to do with that there? I don't know.
I've always wondered. Yep.
So, and that's how we know they worshiped these leaders, because it happened after the flood. They made them their kings.
Mm-hmm. Well, and look at how the Lord used it to test their faith too.
Yeah.
He used it as an instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he washed out that entire generation of that didn't have the faith, except for Caleb and
Joshua.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, that's right. They were put there for and that helps us why things are like that sometimes. Mm-hmm. It's there to help us grow, to teach us how to fight, spiritually, of course, mm-hmm. and to watch for things that can harm our families and different things.
And this whole thing with aliens may be the same kind of test, but in a spiritual sense. You know, you think about it back then, and they're looking at these beings thinking, you know, there's no way we can overcome this. And again, Joshua and Caleb say, well, God is on our side. So it shows that the faithful are the ones that enter in, even with the trials and tribulations that are ahead.
Yep, that's right. And this comes from Scripture that I'm getting ready to read, and a lot of people don't realize this is in the Bible. The Bible is a really cool book.
Yeah.
If people really knew, I mean, all the begats mm-hmm. and stuff like that, the child of this, child of that, I can see how that's kind of boring.
It can be, until you start to look up some of the meanings of the names.
Right. Yeah. Everything's...
There's a message behind everything.
But this kind of stuff, I mean, this is like sci-fi stuff.
Yeah.
That is in the Bible. And when you see it start to come to pass, then it all kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll start in Numbers chapter 13. We'll see how this all started.
That's when the 12 spies, yeah.
Yep.
We just talked about this on Wednesday.
Numbers chapter 13, and it's verse 33. Oh, you'll see Numbers 13:13. It's no, that's not it. That's a different one, different chapter. Numbers 13:33 says, this is when they sent out the spies to spy out the land before they took it. And it says, and there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. So who's Anak? And why doesn't it tell us anything more than that?
Well, and isn't it strange they always refer to these beings nowadays as the Anunnaki?
Yep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think we're given these names,
Mm-hmm.
it's not detailed out because we don't need to have details.
Right.
The details will come to us from other directions. If we had a detailed account of everything in the Bible, it'd be such a big book.
Couldn't carry it to church
But
on Sundays.
our Bible's our filter.
They give us enough.
It's our filter.
Mm-hmm.
We filter everything through it. And so this sons of Anak, and who is Anak's daddy? Well, we've got him too in here. In I think it's Joshua 15 tells us who Anak's daddy was. Joshua 15.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to remember.
Was it Og?
Nope.
No.
Og was way later. Here it is. And unto Caleb the son of Jephunneh he gave a part among the children of Judah, according to the commandment of the Lord to Joshua, even the city of Arba,
Oh, I didn't ever guess that.
the father of Anak, which city is Hebron. See, before it was Hebron, it was Kirjath Arba. That means city of Arba. Or Arba actually means 4. What's the number 4 have to do with?
Spirit.
The fourth kingdom.
Spiritual, the fourth kingdom, the fourth dimension.
Yep, the fourth kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we see that fourth kingdom coming in the book of Daniel, and it's unnamed. Every other kingdom is named. You have the prince of Medo-Persia. You have Babylon, the prince of Medo-Persia, the prince of Grecia. But then it doesn't name the fourth prince, the principality that's over that kingdom. That's why I think that it's still open. Because most people look at that and say Rome fulfilled that. Well, it kind of did.
Mm-hmm. A partial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Rome is going to reemerge, which I think it has.
Mm-hmm.
And that kingdom's going to come out of it. But it was never named the fourth kingdom. And it's something out of this world. It's a... So, the children of this Anak were big. They were huge. It says we were grasshoppers in their sight. In another place, it says they devoured the inhabitants of the land. That's in Numbers 13.
Mm-hmm.
If you read on, it says that's why they were scared. Because they ate people.
Mm-hmm.
They literally hung them up and butchered them in front of everybody. And these spies saw that and said they devour the inhabitants of the land.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we get all of our... when I was a kid, I always heard about the...
Fum.
I smell the blood of an Englishman.
I'll grind your bones to make me bread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's... was really true. I mean, what else is giants going to eat? They can't.
That's the thing. That's what I was going to say.
They have to eat something.
There's only so much. Like, you can't grow stuff enough for them to eat. They're, and they're bloodthirsty anyway. So,
Yes.
but yeah,
Yeah.
the life is in the blood.
That's something else that's interesting I was going to bring up, is that the life is in the blood. And you see all these farmers talking about their cattle have all the life, of all the blood sucked out of them. Mm-hmm. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the name Anak means long neck.
Mm-hmm.
And you those Anakim that we hear about in secular documentaries and stuff, the people that followed them would put things around their necks.
Bands, yeah.
To make their necks longer so they could look like their gods.
Mm-hmm.
So see how it just gives us the name and the meaning of the name, and then everything else comes in and we say, aha.
Yep.
That's where that came from.
That's why you see these tribes, I'm convinced anyway, like you said, why you see these tribes where they will put rings, they'll start when they're really little and just keep adding rings and keep adding rings and keep adding until it stretches their neck out.
Yep.
They can't ever take the rings off because their neck would break.
Well, there's literally an Indiana Jones movie about the elongated skulls and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a whole nother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right. They'd put their heads in a vice, and they'd have to lay in it like 2 or 3 hours a day.
I mean, kids
down
come
on
out
their
kind
head.
of looking that way anyways, but at the same time,
Well,
they...
Right. Well, but it's, you got to ask, like, why were they doing that? Well, they were trying to emulate their gods.
Yeah.
They were trying to look like their gods.
Yep, the Maya and Aztec are the ones that did that elongation of the skull.
Yep. You are very well educated, Brandon.
I've watched a lot of what seemed like pointless documentaries and stuff.
But it's not. They're not. No, they're not. No,
they're not. When you piece stuff together like this, it's not.
Yep. I got some of the most kind of eye-opening insight from things that I've watched that I didn't go into it
Yes.
with the idea that I'm going to get some insight from this, but something clicked and I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
Maybe even years later.
Yeah. Usually, far into the
Yep.
future. So.
Yeah. So, and then the children of Lot encountered these. Also, clear back in Genesis 14. But Deuteronomy talks about it too. Deuteronomy 2, verse 9 through 12, because they're getting ready to go through and take the land, and God tells them, don't take that land. That's Lot's sons' land, Moab and Ammon, I think it was. But this is what he says to them in Deuteronomy 2:9. The Lord said unto me, distress not the Moabites, neither contend with them in battle. For I will not give thee of their land for possession, because I have given Ar, which was their land. It was the land of Arba. They've given the land of Ar unto the children of Lot for a possession. The Emims dwelt therein in times past, and people great and many and tall, as the Anakims, which also were accounted giants, as the Anakims. But the Moabites call them Emims. The Horims also dwelt in Seir before time, but the children of Esau succeeded them, when they had destroyed them from before them, and dwelt in their stead, as Israel did unto the land of his possession, which the Lord gave unto them. So it wasn't just when Israel came through, people had trouble. Abraham fought with giants. You don't really think about it, because it just says their names. Then you find out later on, those names were giants. When Abram helped all those different kings go after...
When they took Lot, right?
Yeah. When Abraham helped all those kings, Shadalamer or whatever it was. And, there was giants involved in that.
Well, and I think too, and I hope I'm not jumping ahead or taking off the rails, because I don't mean to, but a lot of that at the time, a lot of legends, if you will, and mythology, things like centaurs, half beast, half person. I think a lot of that is based in reality around this time. I think they weren't just breeding humans and angels. I think they were trying to corrupt.
Well, look at the Egyptian gods. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's where
Yeah.
you remember Caftor. Remember Caftor in mythology was like half calf, half guy, half man, or something. Anyway, Caftor's in the Bible. He's of these giants. He's of the.
See, I think a lot of that.
He's of the
Yep.
sons of Canaan.
I don't think it's just mythology. It's just have like a centaur or whatever, like like you say, the Egyptian gods, with like the head of a
bird
or whatever, and body of a man, and that is in my mind. And if I'm crazy, just tell me I'm crazy and I'll shut up.
Well, look at this
crazy.
look at this gain of function research where they're
crazy.
trying to gain a
All right, I'm
function.
gonna shut up.
They're trying to gain the function of a beast of the earth. That's what this gain of function research is.
It is.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's the one thing.
See, this is why I wanted to have you in here for this.
That's
man.
what the giants did. They gave gifts to men.
Yeah.
They gave gifts to men, which is what Jesus did, but spiritual gifts, of course. But they gave them ways to advance themselves. So I didn't want to interrupt you on what you were saying earlier, but you said, tell me if I'm crazy. So I had to be
I
honest.
told you, tell me if I'm crazy, I'll shut up. So that's
Well,
And isn't it interesting, too, that this gain of function research, them trying to become gods, they receive the curses of the Bible because of it. It's very interesting.
yeah, that's right.
Very interesting.
They're rewriting the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Genesis 14 is the first place we see these people, but it doesn't really tell you they're giants. But you find out later that they are. Clear back in Genesis 14 and verse 5, it says, and in the 14th year came Chedorlaomer and the kings that were with him and smote the Rephaims. It doesn't say they're giants, but we find out later that those were giants, Rephaim, in Ashtaroth, Carnaim.
I wonder what it wasn't a prefix, but postfix or whatever, the eam on the end. I wonder what that
means plural.
Does it mean
is all
plural?
eam means.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought maybe that had some, because a lot of times it's the eames, like such and such eam, such and such eam, or the ites. Ites
Yeah,
are another one.
that's all just means that people group.
So it doesn't,
Yeah.
there's not necessarily a link there between. Okay, gotcha.
No. But they all have that on them. It goes on telling more groups, and the Zuzims in Ham, they're Canaanites, and the Emims in Shavi Kirathaim, and the Horites in their Mount Seir unto El Paran, which is by the wilderness. And so that's the earliest that we have of these giants being on the earth after the flood in Abraham's day. So I don't think that any of the giants lived through the flood. I'm pretty sure that's why every mountain was 15 cubits of water over it, which is pretty high. I think that some say that seed was in Ham's wife, but I don't think that's possible. I think there was just a reoccurrence of a fallen angel, because it said the sons of God and the daughters of men cohabitated also after.
Yeah, it says, and also after that.
Yeah.
And also after that.
Yeah, I just think it was more controlled then. Like,
Well, that was, that's
Satan.
like Tower of Babel and that whole time.
Satan convinced the first angels to fall. Well, then after the flood, what's going to stop him from going into the ear of another one? Because angels at that time were what taught men how to do
Right.
things.
And do you think the devil's going to be like, oh, I lost that one. Well, I guess I'll just go ahead and give up.
Well,
Yeah, right.
You mean you don't think you heard God say that there wasn't going to be another flood?
Right.
That'll send you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And what do
Okay.
you think? And not to jump, but man, this topic, dude, we could do like 10 episodes on this. The flood killed a lot of them off. But what about the what's your thoughts anyway on the cross breeding programs with amphibians where the floods wouldn't have killed them off? So things like mermaids, mermen, things like merpeople, things like that I think really existed. I really think they were part of that breeding program. But the floods, of course, wouldn't have killed them off. It would have wiped them off the face of the earth, but they would still be under the water.
Yeah, but the flood cleansed the world. It didn't stop it from being dirty.
Right.
Right. I
Right.
mean, so.
Yeah, there was another incursion, I think is what they call it, of where the son, a fallen angel, went into a human woman. Because you have them worshiping these beings.
Well, I just wonder because a lot of post-flood religion goes back to Dagon, and Dagon was the fish god.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to get off on all this, but if you look at the Catholic mitre,
Right.
Yeah.
the priest of Dagon had. So I wonder. I've just always wondered. Well, did the beings the maritime, or not maritime, but the marine life beings, the fish people, things like that the flood wouldn't have destroyed, they became like the primary source of this incursion. Or if they became like, because everything after that, after post flood, is all Dagon and fish god worship, and well, these beings, they came up out of the water because they survived, quote unquote, the flood.
Yeah.
Just a thought, but that's
anything's possible. But I tend to think that even all the fish died because there's so many fossils of fish from the flood. I think that.
Maybe
because of
the ecosystem changed because of everything. Yeah.
I mean, I can see God preserving
Some.
7, like He did those in the ark.
Yeah.
But
that's true too. And a lot of when it talks about the waters from the deep, and not to, I don't want to hog this conversation, but when it talks about the waters of the deep breaking loose from the deep, well, a lot of that would have been high levels of sulfur, things like that. So it would have, so I see that point too. I hadn't really considered that, but that's,
Yeah, I think that was He said, the end of all flesh has come before me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think God knows how to kill everything.
Oh, yeah.
But He has a plan for the end times, and so somehow that seed of the serpent, we know, is going to be incurred again or preserved through. However it took place, it happened because we have the proof of it. In the Scripture, you don't get giants from a regular man and a woman.
No, you don't get godly men with sinful women. Procreating does not create giant people. It never
might
has.
create a problem.
It's going to create a problem for sure, but it's going to corrupt some generations. But it's not going to create giant people.
Right.
Like, otherwise, Eldon would be crawling with. Well, I digress.
Yeah, that's right. So, Joshua, in Joshua chapter 11, he killed all of them except for a few.
Mm-hmm.
It says in Joshua 11 that because they were supposed to go in there and kill them all, drive them out, and they're just certain there'll be a little note at the end of a chapter or something that said, and they could not completely drive them all out, or something like that. But in Joshua 11, verse 22. We're trying to tie this all together and why there would be this among us, why there would be entities among us. But verse 22 says, there was none of the Anakims left in the land of the children of Israel, only in Gaza, in Gath, and in Ashdod there remained. Where did the infamous Goliath come from? Gath.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have Caleb either killed or ran them out to the outskirts of the land of Judah, which would have been Gaza, Gath, and Ashdod. And that's where Goliath and his 4 brothers came from. They all came from those 3 Well, Ekron was one of the giants. It didn't mention that there, but it's still one of those seacoast. You got Gaza and then Ashdod, Ekron, and that other one that was mentioned next to it. Right there together, right on the seacoast.
See, that takes
right
me
where
back
the
to
sea
my
creature.
Mariner. See, that's,
Sea creature.
that's all I'm saying.
Well, you're not far off from, because that's where the Philistines lived. That's where they lived. And they worshipped Dagon, remember? Dagon's the one that Philistines took the Ark of the Covenant, put in their temple, and Dagon fell forward. His hands broke and his head broke. Another sign of the bruising the head of the serpent.
That's good.
Yeah, that's everywhere. That's
yeah.
everywhere through there. When
good.
Children of Israel killing those giants, that's the seed of the woman bruising the head of the serpent.
Yep.
The seed of the serpent, the head of the seed, which they were the head of. People would make them their kings,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, they were the head of the kingdom, if you will.
When David killed Goliath, he's not just bruising Goliath's head, he's bruising the Philistines' champion, their leader, their head.
Yes.
And so, and the heel being bruised is a symbol of you standing on something and squashing it. You know, it's not saying the crucifixion was bruising the heel of Christ. You know, that some people use that, but that's symbolic of the seed of the woman's going to crush you.
Really crush you.
Yeah. Because you bruise your heel, that means you're
stomping hard.
You're beating
You're
somebody.
stomping hard. You're,
Devil
you're
stomping.
Curb stomping.
Yeah.
Ow.
So yeah, David beating that giant, the children of Israel beating those giants, that's all a partial fulfillment of Genesis 3:15, which we ought to read for the audience.
Where'd you say you were going to go?
Genesis 3:15. Just because everybody may not know. You know, they're driving along in their car. They ain't got time to go to the scripture or something to look at this. So this was the pronouncement that God made after the fall. And he said to the serpent and Eve, I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. So there it is, Genesis 3:15, one of the first prophecies in the Bible, is seen being partially fulfilled. And every time that the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent has a hand-to-hand combat, the seed of the serpent loses.
Yeah.
So devil, he's going to do it a different way now. He's going to fool everybody into believing it's a good thing. The doctrines of Balaam, remember that? Instead of going hand-to-hand in combat, he's going to fool everybody. He's going to use their fleshly desire to bring it in.
Well, what did he tell Eve? Ye shall be as God.
Yeah.
And that's the same. It's the same mindset today. That it's behind everything.
That's what everybody wants to be, their own God, and they want to be worshipped by others too, for sure. But Ham's son Canaan is the great grandfather of the Philistines. The Philistines came right through Ham. Now, why did they end up clear over in Semitic land? Why would they end up there? Why would the Canaanites end up way over there? That's Semitic land, or I mean it is now. But they were there to thwart God's plan, to try to distinguish the seed of the woman. And then the Philistines in Genesis 10:14 is where we first see them, but they worshipped the sea creature, Dagon, what Tyson was mentioning, half fish, half man, and they worshipped Ashtoreth, the serpent goddess. So you have all that tying together. And so when David killed their leader, bruising the head of the serpent. So the seed of the serpent was always destroyed by the seed of the woman. And so here in these last days, we've got something different going on. It's not going to be all out in our face, these huge people. I mean, it might eventually, like during the tribulation. There has been accounts of that even. People saying that a craft crashed in their backyard and tall people walked out of it.
Yep.
But you only have like one instance of that, so it's hard to confirm any of that. But now when you got representatives of our government
saying that they've seen and heard accounts behind closed doors in these skiffs that they go to.
Yeah, and not just a private thing going on, it's a government breeding program. That's serious business, and it's more than one. We've only had those two come out, but when they're telling this in Congress, they got a whole line of people that support them in Congress, but they kind of want to remain anonymous as far as going out and doing podcasts.
Yeah, well, we're
Like
going to go to
Gates.
Congress. Wayne, you do the talking, but we got your back.
Yeah. But that's something that you really need to take note of, I believe. I just, what do you do with that?
It's hard to know really what's going on, but at the same time, I believe that the delusion is definitely being set up. All these things happening around the same time. All this UFO disclosure stuff. And I remember hearing talk within these church walls 10 years ago about these things being set up for the end times. And now you really see it come into fruition. The same exact things that we were talking about 10 years ago that were not near as prevalent as they are today.
Yeah.
And it's really in your face. And so having talked about it before and having that, that in the forefront, if you will, of what's coming, that's always been kind of in the back of my mind. And seeing all these things unfold, you really understand it better through the Bible.
Yeah. That's right. We didn't talk about remember Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, went and slew 2 lion-like men? Now, what were they? That was way later. That was after.
See, I've always thought that
Goliath.
was that, again, that crossbreed human beast.
Lion-like men.
Yeah. I
And
don't
the
think
same guy slew a lion by himself later. So he knew what he was doing. He knew how to do it. But lion-like men. That's it doesn't just mean men that were grouchy.
No, and I remember hearing
they're grouchy.
I think I've said this here before, but I do remember like years ago when I did my 1 year of college, sitting in college biology, hearing them talking about how we were taking the certain gene that helps a flounder fish survive in cold waters and injecting it or finding a way to implant it into tomatoes so that they could grow through cold weather. So that's cross genetics right there. If they were doing it 20 something years ago, how much further is it now? And what else are they hiding that you're not supposed to know about? You look at all your food and it says GMO. That's genetically modified. I mean, that's genetically modifying or modifying the genetic makeup of something to make it grow differently, taste differently, whatever. That's why all of our food looks and is so different from what it was 20 years ago.
Yep, agreed.
Strawberries are more pulpy, but they're bigger. Same thing with tomatoes. They don't taste as good as they used to, but they are bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm.
We're getting back to all of that. Sometimes I get nervous when I eat stuff that is just really, really good. It's like they've done something to it. You don't even have to salt and pepper this thing. I mean, I know it's not got nothing to do with the mark of the beast. That's a decision people will make, they'll want to make. It's not going to be an accidental thing. they're genetically modifying
Everything.
about everything.
Yes. Well, and that's because, too, if they genetically modify something, then they can patent it. So it's no longer just nature's patent. It's I've got a patent on nature now. And so every time somebody buys something that's associated with that, there's money to be made. The love of money is the root of all evil. Literally in everything.
Yeah.
And it's like I've joked about this with Starbucks. I'm like, I don't know what they put in their coffee, but I can get Starbucks, and you can get me any other bottled canned coffee on the planet, even the La Columba that I like. It's different. Mm-hmm. There's something special about Starbucks, and this is no lie. They used to on their Frappuccino bottles, and I don't think they say it anymore. Down after the ingredients, it would say create. How did it put it? It basically said this product has been created using genetically modified
ingredients or whatever.
It was. And Starbucks tastes different. I'm sorry, it just does. It tastes different.
It has the goddess on the front there.
I know it does, but it's not your Red Bull. Your Bulls.
No.
Your Bulls of Bashan. Like so.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
Monster's just the beast.
Yeah, Monster's just 666, just blatant.
It's just the beast. And when you turn it upside down, the T becomes a cross. And,
it even says unleash the beast.
Unleash the beast. Yeah, no, so.
Witchcraft.
Oh, yeah. Of course, the Starbucks has the fish goddess,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we mentioned that fourth kingdom earlier. That comes from Daniel in chapter 2. This is what it says about that fourth kingdom. It says, as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. It's a divided kingdom, basically. Jesus said that Satan's kingdom would be divided. Mm-hmm. That's why it's never been able to make it. It's going to one day because he wants it to try everybody on the earth. And then it says, and whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, what's clay?
Us.
That's a human. We're called clay.
Mm-hmm.
God's the potter. We are the clay. And iron is not the clay. It's something else. And it says, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. So the seed of the woman is going to be mingled with the seed of this fourth kingdom. It seems to me like it's talking about another incursion.
Mm-hmm.
And we may not see it as giants like we did before. I think we're already seeing it. And how do we know how to do this GMO stuff?
Yeah, it's the same gods
same
of the old
technology
world.
That the old
gods.
World had.
Yes.
They taught men how to fight in war even.
Yeah.
And what are they teaching us? They're teaching us how to make nuclear bombs.
How to war. And AI is really, really, blowing that up exponentially.
Well, it would have to.
Mm-hmm.
All your knowledge would be in one place in 1 second.
Yes. Is that the God that will be upon the earth? Is
definitely
AI?
Definitely, because you ask it everything.
Mm-hmm.
You pray to it, basically.
People do.
Mm-hmm.
You ask it, and it gives you an answer.
Mm-hmm.
And people they're upset because they can ask God questions, and He don't answer them. You see,
that does in any moment.
Yeah, and so this AI will tell them what they want to know. And as it advances, the more data centers that are built, the more data that they have stored.
Mm-hmm. There's talks right now, a couple of things you said, data centers. There's talks right now in Camden County. They just had a big city county meeting about data centers in the area, about moving data centers into the area, data centers, whatever. Second point, what were you talking about before the data centers?
I talked about Daniel 2, the image of the image in Daniel's vision, the fourth kingdom of it.
I got sidetracked with the data centers, but it like I said, this is a real time thing. It was just on Facebook yesterday. They had a big citywide or a county meeting about moving data centers into the area. So, I know what it was.
Well,
AI.
AI involves quantum technology, which anytime you hear that word quantum, it involves fourth dimensional
What
things.
about the king of AI?
Yeah.
But AI, there's actually, and I just saw this like a week ago on Facebook. They had an article about it. There are already people that worship Chat GPT, their AI. They're already forming relationships with it. There are these small, and I think these little fringe cult groups, they may just kind of be doing like a shtick, but it's opening the door for that. And they worship the god of AI. That's...
Yeah. Remember when we did that show on AI, the king of AI, and we talked about how the problem of it was going to be that people don't think anything of it.
Right.
Well, I heard a guy.
That's what happened to the Israelites. They thought this was no big deal, and they got whipped.
I heard a guy stand up before the WHO, I think it was, and talk about how AI would know our books better than we do. It would know the Bible better than we do, and that it could teach the Bible better than we could. And so that's what people are going to start leaning on to learn the Bible is AI. And which version, whose interpretation. It's so open that it really is going to water down things.
Yeah.
If people start really leaning on that for understanding.
Yeah, it already is doing that in a lot of ways. And so that kingdom, that fourth kingdom, is going to mingle with the seed of men. Well, they've tried to explain this away and how the people went through and just mingled within themselves. But this is talking about an iron kingdom versus clay. Now, I don't care who it is in this world, a leader, they're also made of clay. This is talking about a kingdom out of this world that comes in and mingles with the seed of men. And which there's other things that apply. I understand that. But the ultimate end, because we can look at this and we can kind of see where it's talking about Rome. Because it says, in the days of these 10 kings that are going to arise, shall God set up his kingdom, which shall stand forever. Well, we're living in that too, that the spiritual kingdom, the kingdom of God. We're living in that, but it's actually going to happen in reality. It's going to come full,
right?
Where this spiritual kingdom that's within us will be a reality.
Right. We'll see the fruit of it.
Yeah, we're going to get to see Jesus. He's not just going to be a part of us. We'll get to see him, and so that hasn't happened yet.
Nope.
So we know this mingling of the seed of men and the Iron Kingdom didn't take place in the Roman era. So we know that's coming, and it just fits with everything we're seeing taking place.
Yep. Well, with all the occult stuff, all the alien stuff, it's all leaning towards that same darkness. It doesn't matter which side of it you come at. And maybe that's the reason why all this stuff's being thrown at us at once, is to cause confusion, so that people have a million different things to believe except the truth.
Right.
Because if you throw so much out there, and you throw too much information out there, people are going to get overwhelmed, and they're going to latch on to whatever makes sense to them. And that's not always God's word.
No, or they're going to do just the opposite. Be like, yeah, I'm just so overwhelmed with all I just don't. I don't heck care. With all of it. Don't heck care. With all of it. I'm just going to live my life and do what I want to do.
And either one of those is harmful for your spirit.
Why? Let me ask this question to get another convo. Why do you think these things reveal themselves as craft? Or we'll use a Bible word, a chariot. Why do you think it's being revealed that way? Where we always seeing some object that's shape-shifting, but it's also called a craft that goes every direction the same speed, never slows down or speeds up. It's either going or it's not, and
Well,
Moving like lightning.
yeah, like lightning. Like,
Well, and-
goes underwater and
through the
comes
waters.
back out.
Yeah.
You don't see the water
Splash.
splash. It's what one of the
Yeah.
pilots said that he
well, they've got to have a
even
way.
filmed it. He
Well, and
filmed
they
it going.
and they divide. They divide into multiple parts and then come back together as well.
They've got to. Here's what my thought on it is if they're claiming that these things are from faraway galaxies and from that they're not claiming they're interdimensional. Some are. They have a clue, but they're claiming that they're from faraway galaxies, faraway planets. Okay, well then how did they get here? And I think that's why they manifest themselves as ships. They've got to have some excuse for, we're not interdimensional. We're from Perseus, whatever, 12, 35 light years away. Well, how'd you get here? Well, this ship. We just took this ship here.
Well, here's a better question. If they don't know what they are, or they claim they don't know what they are, how do they know where they came from? It's foolish, but they're trying to make as much sense of it as they can, those ones who don't know. And I think that those who do know are being very secretive. And I do think that there are people who know exactly what's going on. Mm-hmm. The higher ups, the really higher ups, people who really run this world.
Yeah.
They're in the know.
These beings are teaching them technology.
Yes.
Or where else are we getting it from?
Yep.
We're getting it from somewhere. Same place they got it before the flood.
Mm-hmm.
Same place the people in the land of Israel before Israel took it.
Yep.
Taught them how to make grapes this big.
Bigger food.
They had to pack a cluster of grapes on a pole between two people.
Bigger food. Just like today. Just like what we were just talking about.
Yeah. I mean, this... Well, I'll tell you the reason I think they're manifesting that way is because that's what they are. Because we see in Psalm 68, verse 17, it says, the chariots of God are 20,000, even thousands of angels.
Angels.
The chariots themselves are angels. Mm-hmm. That's why they can shift shape. They're not a machine that they sit in. Ezekiel 1, what's it say? That the spirit of the being
was in them.
Yes, was in the wheels.
In the wheels.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. These things that we're seeing are not craft.
They're
living angels. They're fallen angels.
Living creatures, if you will.
When they were on God's side, they were chariots. They carried God around, so to speak. They followed him around. They went with him everywhere he went.
Well, is it Zephaniah 6 where the chariots are mentioned? And then it mentions like the 4 horses of the apocalypse with them too.
The colors of the horses are there. Yeah, the white ones went to the north country. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting too. That number 4 always having to do with the spiritual kingdom.
Spiritual realm.
Yeah, the 4 horsemen. That's the prince working behind the scenes, so to speak.
Yeah.
That's going to bring all those things upon the earth. Mm-hmm. So, and that's it's very important that we see how this is showing us how the Bible explains things to us. The first of all, the chariots of God are 20,000. There's more than 20,000 chariots of God.
Yeah.
That's a word that means a whole bunch. When it's 10,000,
right?
There's 10,000 times 10,000. Mm-hmm. That's talking about an innumerable number times an innumerable number.
Well, here it says 20,000, even thousands.
Yes.
Like it's letting you know this is
a lot. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a phrase that just means double whatever.
Yep.
A lot of times that's 10,000.
Yep.
The Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints.
Yes.
So this is 20,000. It's topping that, what it's doing. It's an innumerable company. Mm-hmm. And so why wouldn't it be feasible that those that fell would be chariots, fallen chariots, that Satan has talked into following him? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well,
so,
even Satan himself can appear as an angel of light.
yeah, and
So
his ministers also.
Yeah, and so it makes sense that they would still appear that way. Because anytime you hear people talking about these orbs, they always appear as light. It's very interesting.
Yeah, that's right. And that Stephen Greer, that's what they always talk about. They get in this circle and they summons this.
Orbs or whatever. Orbs of light.
Here's my question. Here's, not to interrupt, but here's my question for just the average person. Okay, if these things are from other planets, okay, if they are intergalactic and not interdimensional, then why does it always take meditation and occult practices to get them to show up?
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, blood or sacrifice and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Always satanic.
It always takes occult practices and meditation and whatever to get these things.
Whatever.
Exactly, to get these things to show up. Now, if they're really just mechanical ships from Perseus 12 or whatever, why do you have to summon them? Like, why do they have to be summoned like demons? Like, why it's.
Yep, there again, that takes us back to that conversation about CERN, about them all having those hallucinations, but they're shared hallucinations.
Yeah.
There's
no, you're not sharing hallucinations.
No,
you're seeing something behind the veil,
and you're all seeing it at the same time.
And you're all seeing it at the same time. I think that's the whole key to the whole thing with ayahuasca, DMT, any hallucinogen like that. It opens. I don't think that what you're quote unquote hallucinating. You're hallucinating. I think it
opens your
that
eyes
veil.
to that plane. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think so too. Yep. I think that's why we're told to stay away from witchcraft and whatnot, is because it opens your eyes to stuff like that, things you're not supposed to see.
Right.
Yeah. And there's even been reports of people doing that one time and having extrasensory perception.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Or they have voices after that talk to them and all kinds of weird stuff.
And some of them want that. You know, they're hooked on that. They want that feeling of godhood or power or whatever it is that it gives them.
It makes them feel like they've got something somebody else doesn't.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, yeah, that's what man, that's the heart of man.
Mm-hmm.
The natural heart of man. That's why people gravitate towards cults and things.
Yep.
We know something
that you don't.
That's everybody else don't.
Secret knowledge, but the Bible says it's not of any private interpretation. So
right.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's good.
Yeah.
So, are we alone in the universe?
No.
And the Bible's very clear that we're not alone in the universe.
Right.
Having said that, they're not aliens from far off galaxies. That's I haven't thought that.
So I've convinced you today.
Oh, well. Coming in here, I thought, they're probably just Martians. They're just like, if we could just get to Mars, they probably got houses up there and stuff. And Wayne just
drinking coffee.
Right, just hanging out drinking coffee.
Waiting on us to come visit them.
Waiting on us to show up. But Wayne convinced me today.
All right.
Yeah.
So I used to know something you didn't.
Now you're in on the know.
Now I got to find something else to know that you don't know.
I don't, ever since I can remember, I've always known, I feel like I know, but I've always felt like these things are spiritual in nature.
Yeah.
I think as a Christian, you know that. I think God communicates that to you.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And I don't think, if you're a Christian who really believes that these are physical beings from other planets, I'd have a couple of questions for you. I'd have to be like, because God's spirit communicates with our spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And leads us into all truth. And I think when you see something like that obviously is dark and satanic and sorcerous and intradimensional, your spirit within you lets you know that this is.
It's very interesting that a lot of people are coming to the same conclusion, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those who have studied the Bible and kind of understand it a little bit are coming to the same conclusions on these things.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'd say that if everybody's coming to the same conclusion from the same book, then it all makes some sense to the people of the same mind.
So I got another question. I know we're getting close on time, but why do you think aliens, when people see them, when people draw them, why do they look like frogs?
I don't know. That's a good question. And I mean, you hear about the Nordics too, though, which would be like your Thor and all those.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
The fact that they look reptilian and any of them look reptilian, that right there, that's...
When you hear about reptilian people too, they talk about
Where does that
which
come
would be
from?
crossbreeds.
Where's a reptilian come from?
From below.
Serpent.
From under. From,
The serpent
yeah.
in the garden? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily a frog,
Right.
but they have the
it's
bulbed
frog-like.
fingers. Why do they have bulbed fingers?
Frog-like.
Remember E.T.?
Yep.
Phone home,
Yeah,
Elliot.
and he had light in his finger
Phone
too.
home. Man, I wanted a Kuwahara BMX so bad when I was a kid after I saw that movie.
I just wanted a finger light so I could see my way in the dark.
Well, I liked BMX bikes anyway. And Elliot rode a Kuwahara BMX. Oh, I wanted one so bad. Anyway, it has nothing to do with what we're talking about at all. It just made me think of that. I was like, oh,
Well, I posed that question because we're going to be talking about this when we get to Revelation 16 in our series, but we'll mention it today. Just verse 13 of Revelation 16 says, "And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet." So whatever takes place, the beast, the false prophet, are going to recommend these devils, these spirits, in some way. They're going to, it says coming out of their mouth, meaning they're going to
spirits in them.
They're going to introduce them, so to speak, to the world. And, but it says these are spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of that great day of God Almighty. That's what causes Armageddon, the battle that's going to be fought over in Jerusalem or in Israel,
Yep.
just on the outskirts of Israel. These entities that look like frogs are going to be the driving force of this thing. So, and you see this in a lot of movies that they've put out. Transformers. I didn't know it the first time I watched it. That was back when I still watched stuff like that. But if you look at it now, it seems like that scenario. They call the people they're fighting against the fallen. And they're talking about how they came and took what was once theirs, but they're coming back, and they've got to rally the world together to fight against them when they come back. It seems like kind of the scenario when Jesus comes back, the whole world's going to be fighting against him.
Did you ever see the show Childhood's End? It was a book from like way back. But several years ago, they did a little TV mini-series about Childhood's End, I think is what it's called. Did you see that? Or, oh, you guys got to see it. Because basically, what it is aliens make contact. I'm just giving a synopsis here from what I can remember. Aliens make contact. And, I mean, on the news, we're here. But they won't show themselves. And everybody's like, well, we want to see you. We're going to lead your planet into all goodness. We're going to give you all this technology. Everybody's excited and happy. But we want to see you. They're like, we can't reveal ourselves to you. You couldn't handle the way we look. That only flies for a little while. Finally, they insist. They're like, you have to show us what you look like. And finally, the ship comes down, and they're like, okay, we'll show you. But we're telling you, you're not going to like it. And they come down, the ship lands, the thing opens, and out walks the classical vision of what we think the devil looks like. Horns, red, long spiked tail, hoofs, it was the devil walking out of this spaceship. And everybody just loses their mind, But you have to see that. Now, it's a secular show.
What's it called?
Childhood's End, I think. Let me make sure. You don't get your theology from this show, okay? I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying Childhood's End.
But it's in somebody's mind. It's in somebody's heart.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think a lot of
these Hollywood things.
Yeah.
Yeah. You look at, especially with Marvel right now. You had Thanos a couple of years ago, which when Thanos snapped, half the population disappeared, just dust, which kind of reminds you of the Rapture, people disappearing, and then they have to unite to fight him so that they can get everybody back, they say. The newest movies coming out are Doomsday, and then they've got one coming out, Secret Wars. So the plot behind Secret Wars is that there are people among us who are not who they say they are. They're not people. Basically, they're aliens in human skin. It's interesting. It's interesting that everything's pointing towards exactly where the world's going.
Mm-hmm. It was Arthur, not to interrupt, it was Arthur C., before I forget, it was Arthur C. Clarke. It was a book from 1953, and they made a TV show out of it a few years ago. Childhood's End. I'm telling you. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've thought for a long time that Hollywood was there to desensitize us.
Absolutely.
To prepare us for something.
Yeah, to get us to receive something when it comes.
Almost like programming, if you will.
Mm-hmm. There's a reason they call it, and I know I'm going to sound like cuckoo, but conspiracy theorist, but I'm a conspiracy realist. And there's a reason they call it television programming, or at least they used to.
Yeah.
TV programming. There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Words mean something. And I thought that coming into this church 3.5 years ago. You've convinced me of it. Like,
so does what your eyes see.
Exactly. Words mean something. They always do. Pay attention to what they're saying, what people are saying, what terminology are they using, because it means something. And I don't think it's any coincidence. It's TV programming.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, there's a flavor for everyone, really. I mean, if you're into the occult, you can get into the occult. If you're into aliens, there's aliens. But no matter what, it all leads to the same dark place. It's just a flavor for everyone of the same darkness, really.
Yeah, that's spiritual wickedness.
Uh-huh.
The darkness of this world, spiritual wickedness in high places.
Mm-hmm.
They want to manipulate things.
Every part of your life.
Yeah.
So that you can't do anything for God. You're useless.
Or even see him.
Mm-hmm.
That's for us that already know him, they want to hinder us, but those that don't know God yet, they want to make it really hard for them to ever see him.
Mm-hmm. And that's why you got that's why the Laodicean church is lukewarm, I think, is because there's just so much distraction.
Yeah, that's true. And there's also an element of that to all of this.
Mm-hmm.
We could get so burdened down with this that we don't try to get anybody saved anymore.
Right.
We just want to be sensationalists. We just want to feel that sensation of talking about that neat stuff. And that's good a little bit, but you have to, because then you can reach every kind of person if you have enough knowledge of everything that's going on. And it is neat.
It is very neat.
God says, call unto me and I'll answer thee and show thee great and mighty things. That's what a fellowship is. Mm-hmm. It's not just one simple thing that you never branches off and, gives you any excitement. Mm-hmm. That'd be a pretty
one of my
boring marriage, wouldn't it?
Yeah. One of my favorite verses is Proverbs 25.
Really, burgers and taters again tonight? I mean, come on, mix it up a little bit.
We've got everything there that we need to.
Well, and Proverbs 25:2 feels like a challenge. It says it is the glory of God to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings is to search out a matter.
Yeah, right.
And that feels like a challenge.
Yep.
And so it makes you want to seek out and search out some of those things, but not go too deep down a rabbit hole that you get away from where your foundation is.
And I will say, we've done episodes on some of what I consider more the fringe topics. Aliens nowadays kind of become mainstream.
Yeah, very mainstream.
But we did the number 33, Noah's Ark. We did Genesis 6, which is still one of our higher rated episodes on Spotify. The aliens, but I will tell you, head and shoulders above the episode we did last week with Adam about his testimony and the what was the name of the episode?
Thought I was saved, but then this happened.
Well, yeah, but it was the what did we?
The chastisement, the chastening of the Lord.
Chastening of the Lord.
Yeah.
Blew all of our other episodes out of the water as far as viewership. So there's a hunger there for that. And like you were saying, this stuff is fun. It's fun to talk about. It's interesting, and it does. You can maybe reach some people.
We got to have answers for people.
You got to have answers. When this pops off, people are going to be looking at us going, now what? Yeah, what about your God now?
When we can make those connections for them, because that's one of the things that cults get people to join them with. They're the ones that answer their questions.
Yeah, the secret knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to have the right stuff. And be honest when we don't know, of course. Right. But things that we can connect that will make sense to people. Most people don't delve into that. They just, you just need to believe, Well,
and honestly, if I'm being completely honest, because I can speak from this as someone before and to where I am now, looking back on my past, you kind of divide this from the world. You do. You just divide it. But it's one and the same. Mm-hmm. When you realize that you can look at the world through this lens. But before you do, they're separate for a lot of people. And so they don't realize that this literally explains the world in front of us. They think it's old. It might help you out. It's a good help book. But they don't understand that there's so many deeper things in there that really help you to say, okay, this makes a lot of sense. And so you don't face the same confusion. That's why we're not troubled in these last days. Right. Is because we have the knowledge of God to say, this makes sense, even though it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And people are going to be, like you're saying, people are going to be looking for answers when this stuff starts popping off. And some of them genuinely, and you're also going to have people that are looking at you like, okay, now what Christian? What about your God now, Christian?
Yeah.
What do you You better have an answer, not just to prove that your side is right, but an answer for them, so they have an alternative at that last minute. That up to that last minute, that they don't have to. Well, see, I told you God didn't exist. I told you that Bible was silliness. If you have an answer for them, they have an alternative should they decide to take it.
If you can get them to see the light and see it for what it is, for truth, then a lot of times our eyes are naturally attracted to light. Mm-hmm. And so if you give someone a bit of truth, and it's the truth that they're looking for, many times they will latch on. But many times I think we miss what people are really looking for because we're not really interested in what they're looking for. We're just interested in what we want to tell them.
Right. I just want you to know this, and I want you to know this truth. And it's
just do this. Mm-hmm. Just believe.
Just believe. Because I told you so.
Right.
What are you,
Here's
dumb?
a list of 10 things to do.
I mean, isn't it obvious?
Come on. Right. It's obvious. Well, yeah, but can you show me the chapter and verse? Oh, come on. You know it's in there. Yeah. Well, where? I'd like to read it. No, it's obvious to anybody that knows.
And if not, there's a book at Walmart that'll tell you how to find it.
There's, I'm sure that, I'm sure some contemporary Christian author has written at least a couple of books about it. So.
For sure.
Well, this has been a lot of fun. We've got Friend Day at our church tomorrow, and I got a lot of things to get done outside, so we'll probably be wrapping this up, if that's okay with you, man. And we'll have another part to this, no doubt, sometime. But I hope it's been a blessing to somebody.
This is one of those subjects that we'll never draw to an end, but we will have continuing episodes on for sure. This isn't meant to be a end-all alien episode, or we'd be here 6 hours from now still, because there's so much to it. But we will return to this subject periodically throughout the podcast and just bring up to date with a new episode on it. So I think it's relevant, especially now in the times we're in. Brandon, any closing thoughts, man?
Well, especially when you talk about them being not aliens but interdimensional beings, that opens up a whole can of worms, because if they're not from another planet, where are they from? And when you start talking about where they're from, you have to talk about a lot of stuff. And so it's not just UFOs and things like that. It goes a lot deeper. So yeah, this is definitely a can of worms that you can go into several times and still not get to the bottom. But it is interesting. And I'm glad we have the Bible to help us make sense of these things that
Amen.
don't really make a lot of sense when you look at it through a worldly lens, because there's too much out there. There's too much to muddle what you're going to think is the truth. But when you look at it through what we believe to be the truth, which is the Bible, it makes it make more sense of what you don't understand. And that really helps to give me the peace that I need, just to get through the day. I mean, really. I mean, to not be worried so much about the things that we're not supposed to be worried about, but to focus on the things that I'm supposed to be focused on. To knowing that it's all under God's control, that He's always on the throne. Just remember that. He's always on the throne and He never leaves it. So no matter what is going on in the world, you remember that your God is on the throne and He's got everything in His hands and under His control, and everything's working out just the way He wants it to. Just the way according to His will. So
Amen.
I think you hit on a couple things there too. We could and should do a podcast sometime sooner than later about, like you kind of set the standard for that if these things are interdimensional, then man, we could have that opens up a whole can on the other side. Mm-hmm. Okay, where's that dimension they're coming from? What's the nature of that dimension? What does that mean to us in our dimension? Mm-hmm. We could have a dimension episode.
And even that dimension right now is broken.
Right.
That's why there's a new heaven and a new earth.
New earth. Oh, that's good. See, we need to do that. You guys got like 2 more hours. We can just go ahead and cut this one. We can just go ahead and record another one. I know you don't. But guys, we just got so much that we want to share with you guys. And we will, as we're able to, throughout the podcast. But the main focus will always be here, the study of the Bible and getting God's word out to you. So we'll have a lot of fun and we'll get off on a lot of subjects. But stay tuned. We've got more coming up. Wayne, anything to add? Or
Nope, I'll just pray for the listeners.
Well, I'll go ahead. I'm going to have you close in prayer. I'm going to go ahead and get our music pulled up here.
Okay. Lord, thank you for the Bible, as Brandon mentioned, this book that we have that we can trust. We can take it and chew on it. We could just study every word, every letter, every line. And then in our life, as we see things come to fruition, it begins to unfold before us, and it confirms the Scripture for us. We praise you for it and pray that you just help our knowledge to increase and our love to increase also. We can be able to be understanding toward those that don't have that worldview, that are still in the dark about all that. Help us be patient with them and to love them along so that they can have time to experience these things in life and not just shove it down their throat and push them away before the time when they can receive it. And if anybody's listening today and it's sparked something in them, sometimes people don't see God until they see the evil that's in the world. And if that would be anybody today, that they would just call out to God when they've seen the evil is so bad and they don't want to be no part of it. If they just call out to God and ask Him to forgive them of their sin and to wash it away and begin to teach them more about Himself, then I know He'll do that, because that's what He does. He searches the hearts of men, and when they really open it to Him, that's when He comes in and begins to have communion with them. And you're very patient with us, your people, and you're very patient with the world, desiring that everyone would be saved. And I pray for those that are out there in my world today and in the coming days and months and years, that I'd be able to be a light to them and have answers for them about all that's going to come to pass. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Brandon, thank you so much for coming in, man.
Thanks for having me.
You know what we're going to have to end up doing is just making you a third, like a permanent co-host, as much as we have you in, man. I'm seriously. I mean, I love having you in, especially on topics like this. You bring so much to the table.
It's fun.
I would like to go back and do another episode as we're able about the tabernacle. Man, if you guys haven't heard that, it's in season 1. It's on the Tabernacle. We've got Brother Christian in for that. It is a eye-opening episode. So,
well, and it also involves the 4 faces that you see in Ezekiel 1, the same 4 faces that you see around the throne. So it really spreads out.
Everything
awesome.
always ties together in the Bible.
It always does.
It does, doesn't it?
Always does. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Like I said, this topic is really in-depth, and we'll get into some more of it as we go throughout the podcast, but we thank you so much for listening. Real quick, give us a like and a follow and whatever else you can do on Facebook. That's our main communication portal. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on Instagram, on iHeartRadio. We are on Apple Podcasts, etc. We're on Twitter now, thanks to Wifey, etc., etc., etc. But you're going to know about everything we do on Facebook primarily. So you want to go over, jump on over, give us a like and a follow. We appreciate it. Also, if you'd like to support the podcast, you can do so by following the Cash App link that we give you in each episode description and also in the show description across platforms. So really easy to find and secure. Guys, thank you so much. We got a lot to get to today. I know you got work to wrap up. I need to go home and take care of some stuff. And you're like a dad of 5. You certainly have something you can do.
Always.
I don't know how you guys do it over there. Oh, at any rate, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Be praying for us. We'll be praying for you, of course. Until next time, from Standing in the Gap. Bye-bye.
When judgment comes like a lightning flash, their voice will wail and their teeth will gnash. And he'll set fire to the evil ones and all the wickedness they've done. There will be no time to turn around. Stars begin to hit the ground, and the mountains fall, and the veil is torn with the sound of that 7th horn. Cold revelation, I can feel it coming like a dark train running. Get ready, 'cause the king is coming. Days were done. The king is coming, and it won't be